Welcome to the neighborhood, kids. I recorded this clip earlier today. Man, talk about long and boring. I was going to re record it tomorrow, but my slight obsessive compulsive part kicked in, and so here we are re recording it. I never edit my stuff, I just record, post it, and just let it fly on its own. That means that I ramble too much. So I can hear it as I record it, you can hear it, and you wonder where this is going, and like my students used to say, is he going to land this plane or not? I had Christmas music playing in the background of that other clip before. I thought I'd see if I could slip it past. The answer is no, you can't. When I checked to see if the video was getting views, I saw a notice that said it was blocked. Apparently, the first song went 9 minutes long. I had the option after that. The song after that was copyrighted, so I had the option of muting the music that was copyrighted. Turns out that when you mute the music, the entire video is silent from about 9 minutes on. So if you watch this prior, watch the prior video that I have now deleted, simply go back and start over at about 9 minutes. This one will be a little different, but not all that much. Maybe it'll be 9.5 minutes. I don't know. I got me a new phone holder, so it's not getting all that moving around that I normally get. I wrote this out on my computer, and I'm reading it from there. So when you hear these little pauses, that's because I've gotten lost on where I was reading at. Over the last few months, I've learned a thing or two about self-video. I've actually restarted this video when things don't. Now see, here's one of those times when I really ought to restart, but I'm not gonna. I've actually restarted videos when things didn't flow properly. I now, when appropriate, write down my thoughts prior to videoing. That means I don't ramble as much. When I listened to a couple of the videos, I could hear it, you can hear it. I wondered if it's as annoying to you as it is to me. I hope I'm getting better. This will be about the 11th or maybe the 15th time that I've restarted between the other video and this one to try to get it right. At least this time, I won't have Clementine and Sunshine barking at the mailman or somebody walking up and down outside. We won't have all that dog noise to put up with. Over the last few days, see, another time to restart, but I ain't gonna. I've read pieces written by about grandmothers and how lonely life is sometimes. Never grandfathers, just grandmothers. Do grandfathers not matter to these writers? I thought I'd write it from the perspective of a grandfather. As it turns out, this is going to be more memories about how lonely it is to be a grandfather than it is some sob story about being a grandfather and being alone, blah, blah, blah. Also, if this is your second time hearing this, I guess it is going to be a bit different. When I opened the piece on my computer, I decided to record it without my glasses. If you're going to see a screen without your glasses, you need bigger type size to do that. I set the type size to 18 and then hit enter. The screen went blank and all of a sudden 18 appeared. Now you got that little symbol that you can hit that goes back and where you go back to that in time to where I was before that last entry. That little symbol didn't work. I hit the back thing and still I just got 18. Now, in order to have a similar script, I have to listen to the prior clip on YouTube and transcribe it. Over the last few days, I've had a chance to reflect on the last few years. As I look back as a 72-year-old, I wish I'd have been more attentive when I was younger. I wish I would have listened to the old folks' stories more. I wish I'd made myself more available to people then. I wish I'd have been more present in so many lives, but no. I had a life of my own and I didn't care about stories. I wish I'd have been more caring and reached out more. My parents were dirt poor. This is for one of those stories. There we go. Lost my place. My parents were dirt poor rednecks. They grew up during the Depression, and by the time we started coming along in 1944, they were doing a lot better as parents had done in the 30s. We had food to eat and clothes to wear. They didn't realize just how poor they were compared to much of the rest of the world. Um, as a child, I never realized how poor we were either. In our neighborhood, many were not as well off as we were. We had clothes and food. Now, 50 years later, my wife and I have done pretty well for ourselves. At Christmas time, we'd all load up in the car and head to Grandpa's. We'd walk up and down the hills and find a Christmas tree. We'd cut down a cedar tree, haul it home, decorate it. Mom would put her few Christmas ornaments on it that she had, and us kids would create decorations. In the old days, there wasn't a lot of money to be had, so you had to make stuff at home. One was a chain that we created. You take a sheet of notebook paper and color it the lines different colors. Then you cut those colored strips apart, glue the ends together, and then make a chain. That colorful chain would go on the tree. We would also string popcorn on thread and hang that on those strings on popcorn on the tree. In the old days, tinsel was popular. Everyone used tinsel. Google it. It's cool. Since tinsel was expensive, at the end of the season, you'd take the ornaments off the tree, the tinsel, the popcorn, and the paper chains would all go towards new into boxes or towards some other use. The tinsel would be repackaged for the next year because tinsel was expensive, cost like 89 cents for it. Popcorn would feed the chickens, and the paper chains would be used to start the fireplace in our pot-bellied stove. Being poor, we didn't get much for Christmas. You looked forward to Christmas because it meant that you were getting a package of new drawers and a package of new socks, because the ones you had on were worn out and had holes in them, in the toes and in the heels. You'd get a handful of that ribbon candy that's so popular at Christmas. And then, depending on what was available at the supermarket, you'd get either an apple or an orange. That was the only time of the year that you'd get either an apple or an orange. And you'd get one present. The first present I remember getting was when I was probably about 6. It was a beautiful Ford tractor. It lasted all of one day. On the first day, my oldest brother dropped it, and the entire front wheel broke off. As I got older, my older brothers joined the Army, and older sisters got married and moved away. Gifts got better. There was more money to spend. When I was about 9, for Christmas, I got 2 gifts. I got an M1 carbine. Man, I loved that gun. To go along with it, I got a 50 caliber machine gun that sat on its own tripod. We played a lot of Army back then, so these gifts were appropriate. I went out into the dark at about 4 a.m., and man, it was cold as heck back then. I set up that 30 caliber in an ambush position at the head of our chicken coops. Dad fought roosters, so we always had plenty of chicken coops and holding roosters and hens and lots of pens. At about age 11 or 10 or 11, I got that Thompson machine gun that I mentioned in a prior clip. The last Christmas that I remember being home was at 14. The oldest brother, who had broken that tractor years before, was home from the Army after spending 6 years in Germany. That Christmas, I got an AM/FM radio. FM was only available in the city, so I never used the FM part of it. In our little town, you got 2 local stations, KRLD, and I don't remember what the other one was. One was country and one was pop. After dark, I could pick up KLAF and WFAA in Dallas, both of which were pop stations. Often, after midnight, I could pick up a station in Chicago. I don't remember what that station was. And then sometimes I could pick up KOMA out of Tulsa after dark. After that year, that Christmas, I don't remember Christmases. I suppose I didn't spend time with the family so much. Eventually, it became about my wife, my kids, and my career. Family was forgotten. Over the years, I've had some wonderful times with my family and my kids. As a kid, we'd go to Grandpa's house for major holidays. At Christmas, we'd see aunts and uncles and cousins who'd come to town. We'd get to see people that you hadn't seen in months. We'd play Army, Cowboys, and Indians, trucks, hide and seek, and so many other fun games together. I so wish I'd have paid more attention to the old folks at those gatherings and listened to their stories. We'd help with feeding and milking the cows, gathering eggs and feeding chickens, gathering and cutting firewood, and so many other things that were just happened daily on the farm. We just took it all for granted. It was just daily life. Grandpa had lots of colorful stories, but I wasn't interested. My Uncle Ed started once talking about his time in Korea. He was talking about how poor and starving those people were during the Korean War. He was in the Navy, and so they would do a lot of fishing. They cleaned their fish for eating and sold the fish heads to the locals. To my dad, he said, "George, they ate fish heads. Fish heads, George." At that point, he quit talking, and I wondered why. Now I get it. He was suffering from PTSD, seeing the suffering that he'd seen. War changes you like that, and you don't get over it. Now my kids are grown and gone. My grandkids are growing up. Emma, who was enjoying running and jumping in the leaves, is the youngest at 11. None of them are much interested in my stories and spending time with Grandpa. They don't come and gather for the big Christmases like we did when I was a kid. They are deleting me from their life one day at a time, and they don't even realize it. I get it now, and I wish I could go back in time and spend time with people that I miss so much now. I so wish I had a day with my dad and with Brenda's dad. They were good men. I wish I could hear their stories again. I'm an introvert, so I don't work at building relationships or sustaining relationships. I'm okay sitting in the dark alone. I don't want to bother other people and have them go out of their way for me. It's just too much trouble for them, and I don't want to be a bother. My wife is an extrovert, so she works at maintaining relationships with the kids and grandkids. If it weren't for her, I'd be sitting here in the dark by myself all the time. I'll probably be dead for 6 months before any of them even notice. I say that tongue in cheek. Kind of kidding, kind of not. She's much more connected with them than I am. That's just the way it is. And we've had Carla for 5 years now. Over the last few days, she's been moving out. She's now all moved out. She has her own apartment now and works 2 jobs. She's a nanny by day and then works for Amazon at night as a forklift operator. She's taken her test to become a nurse, but hasn't yet ordered her test results. She's afraid that she didn't pass. But for the time being, she's kind of like Schrodinger's cat. She's both passed and failed, and we won't know different which until she opens the box. She's taken some giant steps to becoming a successful adult. Our house is empty now. We're back to being empty nesters. Will we take in another young person who needs a place? Well, we'll just have to wait and see what God has in plans for us there. Now I'm wondering how long it is before we have no one coming around for Christmas. They'll all have their own lives, their own grandkids, and will be just too busy for us old folks. They'll be tired and having stuff going on in their lives, and they just won't have time. They plan on getting around to it, but they just don't. At our age, life gets emptier and emptier. We do still have time for each other. We'll see how much more time, how much longer we have. My wife says that if she dies, I'll die within days of a broken heart. I hope that's true. I sure don't know how I'd get along without her. Now, realistically, we have another 20 or 30 years, so that'll handle itself as we go along. We'll see what God has planned. As I sit here, I think about how Grandpa did after Grandma died in 1959. He passed away in 1971, I think. I have no clue how he adapted because I never was interested in spending time with him. And now, here's the point of this whole thing. When I left home, I never looked back. I focused on my own family. Now looking back, I wish I'd have visited the old folks more. Don't make the same mistake. Go visit folks. You have parents, grandparents, neighbors, your kids. Go visit them. Invite them to join you for a meal at your house or their house, or take them a meal, go to a restaurant. Go listen to their stories. Ask them about their lives when they were little. Ask them about your life when you were little. Don't leave them to sit in the dark and lonely. Interact with them. Don't be like me. Now, give us a like and a comment. Share us with a friend who enjoys long and boring stories. And have a great day. Y'all are doing a good job out there. Keep it up.